Hello everybody, welcome to Ageless Rock channel where megalithic fans get to see things from a megalithic perspective. In this video, I would like to explore a little bit in Sumbawa Island. You can add this site to your bucket list of megalithic sites to visit for your coming vacation plan, but you have to be physically fit. Sumbawa Island is in Lesser Sunda region and going to Jakarta is as far as reaching Australia. I wonder why Indonesians didn't drop by Australia if Austronesians were such great seafarers, reaching Hawaii, Fiji, and Easter Island. Archaeologists say this is one of the oldest Neolithic sites in the world, ranging from 12,000 to 4,000 years old. Sumbawa may seem like a small and uninteresting island to most people, but it has some megalithic mysteries yet to be solved. This video will explore a lesser-known site called Renung. Renung megalithic site consists of 7 megalithic tombs spread over 5 locations. To give you an idea of distance, the second and third locations are about 200 meters apart. The fifth site is the most challenging as you will need to jungle trek for an hour before getting there. This location is very isolated and not easy to reach whether by foot or by any form of vehicle. Renung is like a hamlet in the village of Batu Tering in the district of Moyohulu. It was discovered as recent as 1971 by Dinula Rais and Dr. Made Purusa. They are from Denpasar Archaeological Center. It is still very hard to reach because not much has been done to improve accessibility. This megalith was discovered in 1971 by Dinalu Rais. The numbering of these items can be confusing. There are 8 objects in total, but there are 7 sarcophagi. There are 5 locations you need to go to see all the objects, and if you have extra time and energy, you can see 2 Raboran sarcophagi as mentioned in my previous video. The first location has 3 objects. There are 2 sarcophagi where one is without a lid because it is on the ground. These 3 items are sometimes mistakenly thought as 3 sarcophagi. At location number 1, there is a lid. This is a lid of the second sarcophagus. It is easy to mistakenly think this is one of the 7 sarcophagi. This is an interesting lid where you can see it is nice and straight with edges meant for closing something with precision. It certainly looks like something made with a machine for cutting. The second sarcophagus is most interesting to me. It has the feature of a crocodile and a male figure you can see from one side. The rectangular hole is very big. This is the famous crocodile you will see most as everyone seems to focus on this depiction. On the other side, it has a female carving and another crocodile that seems to cling on the side of the broken boulder. While the female carving is constantly mentioned as representing fertility, there is no clear connection of the 2 crocodiles. But that's not all. There are 2 more carvings on the side depicting 2 humans. No one has a clue what they are supposed to mean or represent. The protrusion might be a handle or intended for carving of a face. From my point of view, a rectangular hole with 2 crocodiles and 5 humanoids don't seem like a combination for a dead person. The famous carvings on the stone is of male, female, and a crocodile. No one knows what is the story here. The common narrative is the female is a symbol of fertility, the male is a symbol of protection from danger, and the crocodile is the affinity between humans and nature. But I think it has to do with the story of creation. The biblical creation story comes to mind. I think it has a very close resemblance of the story of Adam and Eve with the tempting serpent. In Indonesia, there are many legends of local communities where their race was the origin of humanity and the Garden of Eden is where they live. I can even add the fact that we have two humans carving on the side is because they represent two children of the humanoid, just like Cain and Abel, sons of Adam and Eve. I wonder if there is a folklore or legend that sounds familiar. If this rectangular hole is a sarcophagus, then I would say it is a little too deep, and that won't be necessary unless creating a hole in the volcanic turf was easy few thousand years ago. With the same concept, the one in Tuja caves in India is a water tank of a megalithic temple. That should serve as a food for thought about how our perception of a rectangular hole is. Let's start with the first location. Here, you can see a huge boulder with a rectangular hole. It has a broken lid that looks like a roof. This boulder has a humanoid head and a full body carved on the side. This is one of the intriguing stones. There are many interpretations of this carving, but no one knows for sure. There was no dead body when it was discovered. If there was a dead body but it was stolen, I am pretty sure there will be remnants and evidence of something inside instead of completely empty. Tomb robbers are only interested in valuable items. They don't help to clean up the mess to the point of absolute removal where archaeologists become clueless. The walls of the interior seem to be void of any chisel mark, makes me wonder who did this. The top cover doesn't quite fit the rectangular hole. Something is not right with the picture. The lid seems to be made with rather good precision and the stone lid is dressed. Seems pretty advanced, but how can this be done 4,000 years ago? The third sarcophagus, which is number 2, at the second location, is an interesting monument. There is a lid for this rectangular hole and it certainly looks machine cut on both sides of the lid. The lid was shaped like a rooftop. There are 3 human heads on this side. But there is also a crocodile that no one is talking about. It looks like it was carved full size, but the boulder was sliced horizontally to make the hole seems like it has a rim. These unknown ancient builders were definitely advanced and had artistic ideas we will never know. On the other side, you can see that the pyramidal rooftop was machine cut rather than chiseled and dressed by ancient Sumbawans few thousand years ago. The humanoid depictions on the side shows a total of 4 humans and a crocodile, remain a mystery for you to solve. The sarcophagus number 3, which is the fourth one, is a huge boulder with a very narrow rectangular hole. It is most certainly flattened on the top with a rim outline of the hole. It is definitely too narrow to be a tomb. This is probably a monument. I would say it proves it was not meant to be a tomb. There was no civilization here that had a leader so revered that they made a very narrow rectangular hole to put him in a respectful way. If you see from the top, you will agree that this is too narrow for a dead body. I think it is more likely to be a container concept where something we will never know was put inside for a reason we will never know. If giant jars of Laos has a rectangular shape instead of round, it would have been called a tomb. I think it was the same unknown ancient builders who did it. Sarcophagus number 4, which is the 5th rectangular hole, also proves that it was not meant to be a tomb. Few thousand years ago, Sumbawans were busy hunting animals and gathering fruits to stay alive. Another sarcophagus without lid is just not going to fit the picture of a great king with his villagers hacking boulders. This rectangular hole clearly has an outline of a humanoid impression on the side, but it looks like unfinished work, or maybe it was meant to be just like that. This final location is number 5. This one is a unique monument because the boulder has two rectangular holes. So archaeologists might want to imagine it was for a twin siblings. This hole is very narrow but very deep. It is larger on the inside though the opening is narrow. The entire boulder was on top of a spot which looks like a platform. It fell and broke. One is intact while the other is split in half diagonally. This is hardly a possible idea for a dead body, let alone a king or anyone important. Some might count this boulder as two sarcophagi, and that is why you can see some mention total of 7 or 8 sarcophagi. Maybe if you want to have an idea of how it looks like if it was not broken, you can refer to these two in Panoia Sanctuary in Portugal, which is said to be for religious rituals. This photo of two rectangular holes in Portugal actually has 4 on a boulder. They have no lids and are too narrow for burial. The unknown ancient builders definitely had different purpose for these rectangular holes. The seventh sarcophagus is in fifth location. The boulder is obviously leaning diagonally where one side is lower and collects water at an angle. This rectangular box is narrow and deep and without a lid. So, is it possible that when Europeans arrived in Sumbawa a few centuries ago, the Sumbawans, who were simple and friendly farmers with simple hunting tools, were actually highly advanced and were interested in carving boulders to make very narrow rectangular holes for dead babies millennia ago? Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this short presentation on Renung Megaliths in Batu Tering village. See you in the next video and have a wonderful day. This is Berniong signing out. Sekian, terima kasih.